What? Jong Hoon smiled. Yo, is that the first time he smiled? He said it's the drugs. Now, who said that Solbi and Junie never had a cute scene together? I mean, come on. Whoa, Gio actually showed more emotions. Dang, yo, that shows that you messed up if Gio's emotions got the best of him. Man, this was another good episode. A lot happened in this one. There were some things that were very anticlimactic for me. First, having Mano being the culprit of the Byungju case is not surprising. I mean, it would be too easy to suspect a criminal to be the culprit, but hey, it is what it is. Even though he's not the main culprit of this entire story, is actually Assemblyman Hyeong Soo. When they revealed him to be the mastermind, again, it's not surprising. I mean, out of all the characters in this drama, who do you think has the most power? Yeah, it's pretty obvious. I'm happy that Solbi's plagiarism case is finally over. She admitted the truth. I'm happy that Ye Seul's trial is over. I felt like her trial shouldn't have extended into this episode. I get it for dramatic purposes, having the jurors be against her at one point, but then be with her at one point, and then this whole thing is settled as a self-defense. But in my opinion, I felt like it should have ended in the last episode where Ye Seul had the courage to defend herself. And that scene alone was such a powerful scene, seeing someone coming out from a abusive relationship, being afraid to say something, but then later on having the courage and having the confidence to say something and defend themselves. Again, a powerful scene, and I felt like it should have ended on that part. Now for Gio's case, we did get a little bit more information. We knew that Prosecutor Jin was the one that spread the false rumors, but then when he said, you think I wanted to do it because I wanted to, that meant that there was someone else who ordered him to do it. And again, it was pretty obvious. I mean, he is close with Hyeong Soo, and it made sense that Hyeong Soo would have been the one to order him to spread the false rumors. Out of everything that happened in this episode, the one thing I'm the most curious about is James. How does he know Eun Sook? What's their relationship? Is James in the US with Kangdan? Basically, what's going on here? So at the beginning of the episode, we know that Mano is at Jong Hoon's place. He has him tied up. Mano is pretty angry at Jong Hoon for having someone to keep an eye on him. And this is where we find out that Mano has been tricking the system to make it look like he was always at home. So what he did was he pretty much kidnapped a guy named Ye Seul who worked at an ankle monitor manufacturer. He tied him up, he put him in his bathroom, put his ankle bracelet on him, so it made it look like he was always at home. And then Mano was going to inject Jong Hoon with the drug. And what's pretty funny is that Jong Hoon persuaded him to inject him into his left arm instead of his right. And then Mano got a phone call. Jong Hoon fought back, but then Mano did get a chance to inject Jong Hoon with just a little bit of the drug. And then Junie came in right on time, knocked out Mano, and he was taken to the police station. And then after that, Mano is being interrogated by Prosecutor Jin for a little bit. Prosecutor Jin asked him, did you murder Byungju? And Mano, he doesn't say anything until he gets a lawyer. I mean, he doesn't get a lawyer anyway. But then, that one scene in Prosecutor Jin's office, as Mano was being taken away by police officers, he says, there are some things more important than his confession. And then he looked at Junie and says, a smart guy like you missed that. And he left. I think Mano was talking about his son, if not Hyeong Soo. And then when Mano was in jail, Jong Hoon went to go visit him and ask him, did you do all this for your son? Mano doesn't say anything, but then Jong Hoon kind of convinced him a bit and says, well, if you confess, well, just a little bit more and put the blame on someone, then that means your sentence will be dropped. And then when Jong Hoon left the prison, he told Eun Sook he didn't say anything, but at the same time, Eun Sook got a phone call from James. And then Jong Hoon called someone to get more information on Mano's son. This is where I'm the most curious about. What's the situation here with James? Then towards the ending of this episode, Mano called Jong Hoon to hurry up and get to the prison because he has something to tell him. When Mano called Jong Hoon, it looked like that he didn't have much time left and something was about to happen. When Jong Hoon got to the prison, an ambulance was driving away from the prison and Jong Hoon was kind of curious on what happened. So when Jong Hoon got there, he asked the security guard, can I talk to Mano? But the security guard says Mano is unavailable. And he asked him, was that Mano in that ambulance? So Jong Hoon headed straight to the hospital. And we find out that Mano was stabbed. And Ye Seul was bailed out. So when Jong Hoon got to Mano, he was trying to wake him up and trying to see what Mano had to tell him. But as Mano was trying to tell Jong Hoon what he has to say, we see that the mastermind behind all of this is Hyeong Soo. And it looked like that Mano was going to tell Jong Hoon that it was Hyeong Soo, the mastermind of this whole thing. He passes out, and that was the end of the episode there. Oh yeah, there's one little scene I didn't want to leave out. So when Hyeong Soo was at the sauna, Prosecutor Jin went to go meet him. He told Hyeong Soo that Mano is the culprit because all of the evidence match. The soles of the shoes, the needle. Seung Jae helped in finding out the identity of the needle, that it was made in Germany, not in Korea. And what's weird is that Hyeong Soo told Prosecutor Jin that he wanted him to take the credit of capturing Mano instead of Jong Hoon, which did not make any sense to me. Now for Ye Seul's trial, we knew that it was going to end off in a good note. We knew she was going to win. It was going to be self-defense. Again, in my opinion, I felt like it should have ended in the last episode with Ye Seul having the courage to defend herself. But again, that's just my opinion. I have to give it for Sole and her mom, especially her mom and her sleep talking, because that was just hilarious. In that one scene where the jurors were trying to make a decision, she was just sleeping and snoring. And at one point where the jurors were against Ye Seul, it was thanks to Soleil's mom and her sleep talking and making everyone else remember what her daughter said. That really convinced them. I guess this is the first time in a drama I've seen someone sleep talking to convince the jurors to make the right decision, and they did. Soleil's mom sleep talking was one of the funniest scenes in this episode. Oh, and there are 3 other funny scenes that I did not want to forget. The first one. So after the whole Mano situation at Jong Hoon's place, Junie wanted to make sure that Jong Hoon was okay. These two were walking after taking a taxi, and Jong Hoon, he smiled. Was that the first time he ever smiled like that? And that surprised Junie, and then Jong Hoon was like, it's the drugs. It's terrifying. Yo, Jong Hoon is just, he's a gem. The other 2 funny scenes were seeing our main characters basically being late to class, and seeing Junie and Soleil trying to force each other to see who goes first, but then Gio went first. And the last funny scene was Soleil not wanting to see Mano, and she was pretty much holding herself against the door and didn't want to see him. That was just so hilarious. Now for Solbi's plagiarism, I remember in my last review I said, wait, did Junie copy? Did he plagiarize for his uncle? No, that's not the case. So what Junie said was, yeah, he did help his uncle write the paper. He does believe that Solbi is smart enough to write that paper on her own, but he said that I know you copied. You plagiarized, and it could have been your mom that forced you to. And he also convinced her to admit the truth. And also there was one point where Junie said that her mom offered as much money as Junie wants to quit the study group and tutor Solbi. So that's why Junie asked Solbi to be part of the study group. That's why he was looking out for her. These two don't really have a lot of heart-to-heart scenes, and this was definitely a very good one. And hey, I'm still shipping Solbi and Junie. And I remember at one comment in the last review, someone says, B and Junie? Really? These two barely have any scenes together. I mean, well, it's not as much as Soleil and Junie, but hey, I'm still rooting for B. And then eventually Solbi told her parents that she plagiarized and she's going to admit the truth. Her mom in that one scene was very, very dramatic. And Solbi and her dad were the ones that weren't showing a lot of emotions. I can see where she got her personality. Now for Gio's situation. So it was pretty obvious that Hyeong Soo was the mastermind behind all of this. We just didn't know the reason behind it. So first, we knew that Prosecutor Jin was the one that spread the false rumors. We knew that Gio was threatened by Prosecutor Jin if he messed with him he was going to regret it. Now in this episode, Prosecutor Jin actually helped Geo in finding out the entire truth because Geo didn't know the whole story. So the whole story was, thanks to Solbi, when these two were talking during lunch, who could have benefited the most after Prosecutor Jin? Hyeong Soo. And there was a picture of Hyeong Soo with a guy named, Cho Taeyong, who was the CEO of a toy company called iBit. And it was that toy company who was competing against Geo's dad's toy company. So it made sense for Hyeong Soo to tell Prosecutor Jin to spread false rumors of his dad's toy company, so you would basically end the competition and iBit would pretty much be the top toy company. Oh, and also Taeyong, the CEO of iBit, was also Hyeong Soo's head supporter, so it just adds up. Now with Geo's situation, there are two very important scenes I want to talk about. The first one was when Geo was trying to convince the cops to testify against Prosecutor Jin. They had a text from Jong Hoon saying, "You guys helping Geo is the right way for you guys to apologize to me." Yo, Jong Hoon is just hilarious. Again, he is such a gem. I love his character. And the second scene, when Geo found out the entire truth, he stormed into Prosecutor Jin and yelled at him. That was the most emotions that Geo has ever displayed so far. And the thing about it is that Junie knew this whole time, he just didn't tell Geo, but because he knew that Geo would act out, he knew his anger would get the best of him, and yeah, it did. And yeah, that's the gist of the episode and the review. If there's anything I might have missed, please leave it in the comments below. I think this is the first episode. I think it could be the first. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first episode to showcase Geo displaying more than just one bland emotion. Jong Hoon smiling like that was pretty hilarious. And no Seungjae. I mean, his name popped up once, but he had no scenes at all. So this could be the first episode to do that. And out of everything that happened, funny or serious or annoying, the only thing that I'm the most curious of is James. I mean, what's the story behind that? What is there something that we don't know? Obviously there is, but I want to know more about it. So anyway, I'm just going to end it here. If you guys like my review, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. See ya.